Masoli, man. What's going on?
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
You just finished a workout or what?
Nah, just the other workout, the dad workout, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Kids
The
got me
harder
running
one.
around the house, man.
How old are they now?
5 and 2. Five and
Oh,
two.
yeah. Yeah, so you're running. You're
Getting
running big
going.
time.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
my daughter's running the house.
I got actually, the one thing I did want to ask you, though, is I never really asked you this in the locker room ever, but I know, like, quarterback workouts are different. But do you hit the gym like guys do? You know what I mean? Like, are you getting under a squat rack as much anymore, or like is it kind of all a lot of throwing and like moving around type stuff?
Yeah, I definitely did early on, coming from the kind of like that old school thinking where you got to just bench and squat the world, But as I got older, I kind of learned what worked for me. But I definitely still hit the squat. Still got to do, my. I definitely don't do power cleans no more. But I'm still hitting deadlifts, and still hitting the squat and bench. So definitely got to stay strong. But definitely kind of got that, Tom Brady mentality about being more pliable as a quarterback as opposed to just being strong in the weight room, being more functional out there on the field. So definitely hit the field a lot more than as opposed to early in my career.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening once your joints start hurting when you wake up in the morning, huh? You just like,
Right.
I'm not gonna get
Hmm.
under those weights anymore. Yeah, I got you. But like, so you're out there. I mean, you're in San Fran right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you're. I mean, man, what an absolutely awesome opportunity for you to be out, like, nice weather, all that kind of stuff. Because I mean, you're here, and even talking to Dane, like he's trying to find some sort of field to throw on. You know what I mean? Because of how cold it is. I mean, are you trying to get out there every single day and throw around, or is it kind of like, is there a schedule on that?
Yeah. So what I've kind of learned for what works for myself, um, as the years have gone by, is right after the season, I kind of take it easy on my shoulder and my arm. I don't throw as much. I'm just getting into just staying fit and staying in shape, and then kind of build up as January, February hits, and you start throwing a lot more. So, even right now, 4 to 5 times a week at least, you got to at least hit the field and get that arm going. But I know guys that don't throw a lot also in the off season, and that's just their thing. They don't want to use their arm as much. They do other stuff, get it done other ways. So there's different ways you could go about it. You just got to find what works for you. But I like throwing a lot too, so it's fun to me. I like being out there on the field.
Especially training camp, I could imagine too, right? Like I remember talking to you a few times where it's like if we're really hitting mid training camp and you've been throwing 14 sessions a day, I'd imagine you want to save that elbow a little bit. You know what I mean? But no, I get it. So, kind of moving away from that, but what I wanted to get you on here for is, we have obviously been teammates for a while and been in Hamilton for a long time. And I know, we had Speedy on recently, and I just wanted to see what it was like once you decided, it was kind of moving on from being in Hamilton, because, we're kind of all in the same boat, and it's, change is good sometimes, but it's also weird at other times. So like, how was that whole free agency process and stuff like that for you? Was it weird? Was it fun? Was it interesting? How was that?
It was all of it, man. I kind of got the roller coaster ride, which was cool, man. It was a good experience because just being in the league for so long and just being on one team, you kind of see other guys go through it. Never really reaching free agency myself. It was good. You kind of feel like you back in college getting recruited a little bit, feeling like you wanted by certain teams. So that's always good. But besides that, I was just super grateful for the opportunity for Ottawa. I know Hamilton has treated me and my family very well throughout the years. And even my first day getting into Hamilton, any place, it's not permanent. It's always everything's gonna come to an end, right? Even the great things. So I appreciate my time there, and we just turned the page as a family, and now we're on to Ottawa, another challenge for us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, you know, we've been lucky enough to be in one spot, but after a while, you know, seeing everybody leave, you're just kind of like, okay, at some point, it's going to be my name that's heading out that door, right? But I mean, okay, so first time in free agency, that's always interesting, right? What was, you know, unlike college recruiting where I'm sure you're getting cars, but we won't talk about that, you know, sent to your family and whatnot. But
Yeah, I don't know. Did anybody give the gold Trans Am like Dickerson at A&M or what?
No, man, no, I didn't get that in my time. They
hey,
were cracking down
that's
on
what he's
that.
still in right now. That's what he's doing the interview. But
Oh
man,
man.
like how was that? What is that like recruiting world like in pro sports? Because I mean, I've never been through it, and you know, it was obviously very public that you were between Ottawa and Edmonton. Whether it was actually between Ottawa and Edmonton for you, but it was public that it was between that. Like, how was that recruiting? Were you traveling to both of those teams, meet with them? How'd that go?
Um, it was good, man. I definitely took my time with the process. You know, shout out to my agent Fred, man. He definitely does
Shout
his
out.
homework. Yeah, Fred, man, he takes care of his boys. So, you know, I was just leaning on his you know, wisdom about the situation, and because he's been through it you know, himself many times. So, you know, I was just playing the game within the game. You know, it is what it is. There's only so much a player can do, right? So I'm only in control of so much that I can control, right? And I let my agent handle that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I know for me, the main factors were obviously winning, right? Building a winning culture and having a shot at the Grey Cup. And I definitely think we had that with, you know, the tandem of Berkey and La Police and everything else that's been happening since then. So it was fun for sure. It's different. I didn't travel back and forth. I was going to, but you know, honestly, I've been to both places. Been in. Obviously, I spent my first year in Edmonton, um, playing there and experiencing that city. So I kind of already knew what that place was about, and Ottawa likewise. So me and my family actually got to spend some time in Ottawa during the season. So we definitely grew fond of it.
I gotta ask you a quick follow-up on that, Jeremiah, is that like I saw in the Behind the R episode where you're on the Zoom call with Lapo and he's telling you like, listen, like I can get more out of you. Like I know how to get you to a place you want to go. And you're sitting on the other side of the Zoom. And just because I've spent so much time interacting with you, being around you, interviewing you through your years in Hamilton, I'm seeing your face and you're like, you're trying to play it cool, but very much on the other side of the Zoom, I can tell you're like, yeah, I know. You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
How
let's
hard
go.
how hard was that for you to not just because you're talking about being patient, trusting Fred, trusting your agent. How hard was that for you not to just pull the trigger and say, yeah, I know this is the right fit. Let's just do this thing because it was obvious to a lot of us that are Monday morning quarterbacking it, but you got to make that decision in the best interest of yourself and your family. So like you have to slow play it.
No doubt, no doubt. And you know, you do. You owe it to yourself. You know, every player owes it to himself. At the end of the day, it's a business, you know, and we build all those relationships, but it's a business. You know, we gotta produce and we gotta win now, and you know, we gotta we gotta bring the championship home. You know, so um, but like I said, you owe it to yourself to slow play it, and you know, all the hard work that us as players put in. You know, we deserve that opportunity and that chance to kind of get after it and see how much we are worth in the market. But like you said, it was a no brainer early on for me for sure. It was just a fit, you know, it was just an easy fit. Even you know, with Burke too, but even without Burke, you know, just me and a lot of police us by ourselves, it was a good fit. So we definitely got a good report going.
Yeah, and that's I mean, you know, playing against Lapo, that's easy to see. You know what I mean? The stuff that he's been able to do with some guys. And I mean, how much of that, and we talked about this on a few episodes before, but how much of coaching is, you know, really a thing for quarterbacks? Like, I asked Speedy, like, how much of an offensive playbook does it open up for a receiver? You know what I mean? Whether it's a good playbook, whether it's not a good playbook, how a coach teaches it, how he doesn't. But I mean, like the amount of coaches you've had over your time, right? You're talking like Kent, June, Tommy, right now it's going to be Lapo, all those different guys. Like, is there a huge difference, or is it for you, you're just kind of, you know, the reads, you know, the plays, you know how to read it out? Is it the same? Is it really different? What's that look like?
I guess it depends on you, right? And for me, I think it does matter, like what type of system you're in, the type of coach, like even his titles to me, him being the head coach, he's an offensive guy. Like, that's just a bonus if you're the quarterback, right? Like he sees the eyes through you. So, um, in terms of, yeah, all of us can step into any system and feel like we could ball. But at the end of the day, we also know that great coaches can make a difference, in every day, just going to work every day. So I think my attraction for Lapo was definitely seeing all the guys that came before him, right? I mean, before myself, that he's played with, like guys that we know, guys that I've known, guys that I actually talked to, text about Lapo during the process. So that was a combination just to make me feel comfortable with that decision.
Is Lapo more like a June where he's going to have a folder out there with 4 plays on it? Or is he more like a Tommy where it's a mad scientist up in the booth? And do you know that kind of stuff yet?
Yeah, I'm still learning myself, but for what I've learned so far, I feel like he's a good mix of everybody, man. He's got a good balance of everything. He's got a good control. He's very aware of what he's got going on within his offense and what he wants to do and what he doesn't want to do. So I think he's got a really good balance of both.
I'm so angry I didn't get one of those June Jones manila folders, man. Like that was the only thing that I wanted from 2018 coming out of that. So did you get one? Did you get like a handwritten notes package that you get to keep or what?
Yeah, I got some stuff for you. I definitely got some handwritten notes for you for the run and shoot, man. I definitely do.
Man, the characters that guy would have down there. Remember the one dude from Houston? I don't know if you know his name, but he was down there. He looked like Ric Flair before he ended up coming. Remember he came to practice. He was all red, had the long blonde hair. We're like, where the hell did this guy
Isn't
come
that
from?
the dude who's involved? Oh man, I am so Jimmy something that used to be involved with like the Argos, and he's the fan-controlled football league and stuff like that. I feel like you're describing because I'm pretty sure June has a relationship with that dude that's been behind a lot of these different pop-up leagues.
No, June definitely knows all these guys. If there's a football league going on, he knows the guy in charge for sure.
No doubt, no doubt.
Hey, how much recruiting did you do? Because I see that, as soon as you sign, Acklin all of a sudden is signing, and then Lozo's signing. And did you do any of that recruiting, or was that just kind of everyone just seeing what was going on over there?
I didn't have to do too much, man. Honestly, guys hit me up and we're just kind of like, giving me the eyes, like what's going on, what's the play, just kind of confirming, like let's head this way. So I know those guys kind of had their minds made up as well in terms of Berkey just doing what he did and just really establishing what we want to be. And it wasn't a hard sell at all because that's what we're going to be. So just knowing those guys kind of had that momentum of let's go do it, it definitely helped me too. So we kind of recruited each other that way.
What is, I guess, energizing to you about the rebirth aspect of going from something that you know so well, you understand Hamilton, the facilities, because one of the funniest things behind the art to me, Jeremiah, was when you walk in the locker room and you're looking around, you're like, oh, they got the sauna in here, damn. And I'm like, oh yeah, he never would have seen this. Like he never would have actually known. And then when you kind of smile and laugh there, talking about the idea of like guys going, hey, we're doing this fun. It's almost like when you're in free agency, you're playing fantasy football, but you're doing it with your friends, and to have them reaching out to you and going on this journey with you. And you're saying, hey, we can create something really unique and recreate our careers in this different place where it's going to be fun to play. There has to be so much joy for you in that because you went through some really difficult years in Hamilton that at times it was play, at times it was injury, at times it was depth chart unfairness or coaching or whatever. And like the happiness of you doing this Ottawa adventure in the early stages, it just makes me happy to see you enjoying it, to be honest.
Let's get that transcripted right there, man. You hit it on the head, man. You definitely hit it on the head. I'm with you there, man, for sure. I think, just the rejuvenation or the rebirth, whatever you want to call it, it's just that challenge of something different, something new, right? Like the challenge of working with La Police, the challenge of learning his playbook and being as efficient as I can be. being a better quarterback this year than I've ever been. Just those kind of things. A new city, the community, trying to help the community. There's different just avenues that I can be able to help myself grow as well and help people around me. So I'm definitely looking forward to stepping into that leadership role, but at the same time, growing into it as well.
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing is, going to a place like Ottawa, it's not just, the football and the team. Like, that city and everything around there, Lansdowne is awesome, man. Like,
Yeah.
When you look at it, when we visit and, go out when we used to, it's an awesome place. You know what I mean? Are you planning on bringing your family down?
Whoa,
for the
you can't
season?
you can't just skip past when we used to.
Hey, I have to skip past that part because we can't divulge too much of that info. That's for another time, I guess. But yeah, like just having
pay for that,
all
man.
that down there. Yeah, that's a Patreon thing, I think. But yeah, like, are you bringing your family down? Are they going to stay down there with you?
You know it, man. Got to. It's definitely, like that excitement of something new, just talking to my family out here about, man, I can't wait to show y'all what it really looks like. Like, my mom was able to come to that Eastern final, so she really knows what it can be. And, she was excited telling everybody else too, but, I can't wait for them to see it in person.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing. I always thought that was one of the hardest things for some of the American guys, right? Is the ones that end up having to like take off for 6 months and come back for 6 months. Did you have to do that early on in your career? Because I know later on, your son was around the locker room all the time, but early on, that must have been pretty tough, huh?
It was tough. Yeah, definitely tough, man. I definitely salute and respect the dudes that are in the locker rooms now. Like, when I look around the room and just see guys getting it, and they're just believing in the dream and trying to grind for that, top spot on the roster or whatever it is. Like, it reminds me of junior college football in terms of, like, you got to just grind and believe in yourself, man, because it's hard. Obviously, like, it's a different game. All the American guys coming up, so that learning curve can be frustrated and tough to overcome. Some guys just don't get it and just won't even try to accept it and learn it. But other guys flourish, and that's the challenge and the beauty of it too, right? So that's love it.
Well, and it's funny you say that because last episode we were talking about how big name quarterbacks, right? Like, Johnny came up here, like other guys that you see come up here and kind of forced to start right away, don't really survive. And I'd actually like to get your kind of opinion on it because, I have my opinion on it that they're just kind of forced in there on a completely new game and they're expected to play and start and be good. And when they're not, not surprising because they've never played this type of game before and they're not good for the first 4 games. They pull them and then they kick them to the curb. But why is that such a difficult transition? And did you have some of that, like maybe in Edmonton, maybe early on in Hamilton? You got to sit and watch a little bit and learn, right? But why is that so hard for some guys, and why do you think that they don't really survive?
Yeah, and for sure. And I agree with you. I think you guys would know even better than me too. Some of even the bigger name guys probably didn't get off to the best start in their careers as well, like the Hall of Fame guys. But it's obviously a different field. It's different rules, different game. It's a different mindset as a quarterback. I feel like you have to be a lot more efficient. You don't have that extra down to kind of run the ball or set up a play action again. You kind of got to learn that as you get up here, get up north. And, it's a quick, fast-paced game. I loved it. I loved it when I was in Edmonton. I just couldn't wait to throw deep every play. But, you learn. But you learn, right? You learn that, that's not anybody could do that, right? We all can drive back there and throw it as far as we can. It's about picking that defense apart, with whatever the offense, however we execute it, right? Whatever our plan is. So there definitely is that learning curve for a lot of guys, and it sucks when you see guys crash and burn. And some guys definitely, you could tell, I'm really not sure if he would even have made it, but some guys, if they just had a little more cushion or even a different situation, right? Like, football is all about timing, so situations can be crazy. Like myself, I had to definitely learn from myself, the game. So it's tough, man. The CFL ain't no joke now. It ain't no joke. These guys come up here, try to throw these flat routes and these corner routes, man. Those are basically 9 routes down south, just for 6-yard gains. So
yeah, and that's the thing. You always see it. I mean, at least I do in the locker room when new quarterbacks will come in. This field's huge. This is gonna be easy. Well, there's another dude out there, and it's a little bit tougher now because we're gonna give you that check down that's 50 yards away. Good luck. But I mean,
exactly.
And that's what I was trying to figure out is they kind of, you see the big names come in every time. They kind of get forced in there to play, and it's unfortunate to see you in a different position. It doesn't really matter because it's all the same, right? But when you see it kind of happen to some of those other guys, and hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully some of those guys that come in here, they can do it and figure it out and not get kicked out of the league. But
well, I want to know from you, Jeremiah, like, when did you feel comfortable in your own skin to where you knew you could play the CFL game at a high level? Because as you're saying, like, okay, you had to figure it out a little bit. You enjoyed the game. You loved it. But I imagine there was still this learning curve. I'm wondering how long that took, because Mike and I were talking last week about guys like Josh Freeman, who never really got off the ground, or Taylor Cornelius, even in Edmonton right now, where it's like, how long do these guys actually need? How long should our period of acceptance that they are learning be before we're actually allowed to say, okay, he might not be a great fit for this game or this league? Because I believe it's like 2-3 years, but you've lived it. So what was it for you?
Yeah. I think it's all dependent, situational on the guy. I think there's some guys that are more ready than others. At any level, just in terms of that professionalism, how to prepare as a quarterback, or maybe they had a great quarterback coach that taught them how to already read defenses before they got to the next level. But for me, I just feel like the first time I knew, it was our first scrimmage at Edmonton, right? I mean, just trying to make the team over there. It was, I just had some great throws that day, and I just knew, that I could do it on this field. I could see it and I could throw it, and I just had to learn it. So, we weren't the best team that year either, and that, so it wasn't the greatest to learn from, but I also learned how to be a pro, right? Those first 2-3 years, what it really took, not leaving the facility on time, coming in early, staying in late, all that kind of stuff, that stuff matters. So just had to learn all that stuff myself. Some guys already know how to do that. Some guys are coaches' sons, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you got to see how that guy executes out there under pressure, right? Anybody can do it when it's all good. When the line's blocking great, it's when stuff falls apart. You really got to see how that quarterback responds.
And that's the craziest thing to me is, okay, so you're in Edmonton and then, do your thing. And then all of a sudden the trade happens with, I think it was, Carson Rockhill for you and Simone. And then maybe some other people that, doesn't really matter. And I mean, you're talking about
how dare you disparage the good name of Nathan Kanya? How dare you?
Oh, Kanya was involved in that too. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But then Carson ends up coming back. But really, that trade for Hamilton, I mean, we're talking between you and Simone, that's 8 years, 9 years apiece, right?
Yeah, it's not more. It's a little production. Yep, some production there.
Yeah, couple Hall of Famers, I'd say at that point. But I mean, to get traded, was that your first year you got traded from Edmonton?
Yeah, after my first year. Yeah.
And to get traded at that point, like, are you like, okay, what's going on in this CFL thing? Why am I up here? What am I doing? Why am I getting traded? I haven't done, I mean? I've been just trying to throw a little bit. What's going on? Why am I getting traded?
Right.
What was like that? That's got to be kind of, because you're probably at this point like, man, I just want to be in the NFL. What's going on here?
No doubt. It's mind games, On top of that, you got bills stacking up, right? Like you didn't make a whole lot of money from the NFL. You trying to make the CFL team. They traded you. You still really don't know too many people. I really don't know what the CFL is all about. I didn't travel to any of the games my first year, so I don't really, know what the country's really about. All I really know is the sample size of Edmonton that I had. So mentally, I really wasn't sure how invested my future was going to be in Canada at all, right? So, but at the end of the day, I was still a football player, and I was training to be a great quarterback. So whatever opportunities arose after that, I was just going to go after. So, I just, after that, just history. I was over there all this time.
How do you? So I haven't talked to anybody about this. I know how E. Harris got picked up at an open trial, but how do you know when you're in the an NFL camp, right, for San Fran, and how all of a sudden it doesn't work out there? Does somebody come up to you and be like, "Hey, there's a league in Canada," or is it like agents reaching out? Is it teams recruiting you? Like, what's that look like? Because I haven't really asked that other than knowing that E. Harris went to a Buffalo tryout and they picked him up, and that was about it.
Yeah, from my understanding, I believe, some of the scouts, or if you want to say some of the better scouts, talk to the agents of like bubble guys and just let them know, hey, just get in his ear, let him know we here. We want him to come up if he's interested to come play, if things don't work out. So some to that effect. And so they already told my agent, as soon as I was done with Ole Miss and football over there and my pro day and stuff, they already had contacted my agent. There was an open workout too. They flew me out to Ole Miss to work out over there. I think Cables was there. A bunch of the coaches over there just having a trial at Ole Miss. And from there, after I cut, they were already in contact with my agent and flew me up.
And the rest is history, man. That's awesome. But listen, I couldn't be happier for you. You know what I mean? Like just being through it all with you. Marsh, before I wrap it all up, do you have anything else for Soli before we let him get out of here and get back to the beautiful weather of San Fran?
Yeah, I was going to say, glorious up here today, Jeremiah. It was like 14 in sun. Don't worry. It's -5 tonight, so we're going to go back down to normalcy. But no, I just wanted to say thank you, man. I first of all, for coming on, but also, of course, for, I think, your time in Hamilton. I reached out to you when you moved on to Ottawa, and you made covering Hamilton so much damn fun. And I know that it didn't always end the way that you guys wanted, but there's nobody I would rather cover. I remember I was working at McMaster at the time where you first showed up in your training camp with the Ticats. And I had watched you. I told you this. I watched you at Oregon. Otherwise, you were the nicest guy to me. We did the first player interview I ever did with Hamilton before I got into radio, TV, any of this stuff was me with like an old, iPhone 1 in a locker room at McMaster talking to you, right? And you were always like, yeah, you went through some tough times. You went through injuries, things that were frustrating, and you're human. And sometimes you were like, I could tell you didn't want to talk to us. And sometimes you were short with us, but you would still talk to us. And it's like, that's all anybody really asks, right? And even not from a media perspective, from somebody who enjoys football, I was just super thankful to cover you because it was always so much fun. It was always an adventure, and I know the adventure is going to continue in Ottawa. So I'm so insanely happy that I'm doing games on television now, so I get to keep calling your games wherever they are bouncing around in the East Division because I think that's where they're going to have most of my action at. So it's going to be fun, man. I know I can feel the energy off of you, and I know Mike knows it too, and we're excited to see where you go with it.
Appreciate it, man. Feel the same, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate your style too, covering the game, man. It makes it fun.
And what people fail to see, and I'm sure Marsh, when you breaking down some film, is Soli was really the first one doing. When people talk about the no look of Mahomes, this guy was the first guy doing it. I mean, I come into camp and I think I had to play field half at camp, and Soli's out there wearing. First of all, this is a cheat code. You shouldn't be able to wear a visor because we got to be able to see where you're looking. So he's wearing a visor, but then he's looking at like OTB right over the check down, and he's throwing them out wide. And I remember sitting there at half. This is my first year out there. I'm like, oh, he's going here, and throw it out to the corner. You're like, what the hell is going on? But man, I was
going to say, I'll give you real quick off the top of my head, my five favorite types of Masoli throws, okay, from covering, because after watching every throw that you've had since you've essentially been in Hamilton, calling every game on radio for 5 straight years, I would say not even specific throws, I'm saying types of throws, where you are setting your hips completely to the left and shimmying and moving the pocket before finally flipping back and ripping a 60-yard post. That's one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorites was you on a 2-point conversion attempt at Winnipeg. I think backpedaling all the way to basically the center field stripe because you just refused to give the damn ball back to the other team. That was backpedal for 50 yards, keep fighting through it. One of my all-time favorites was, I think, against BC, but you've done this a variety of times, rolling to your right and basically somebody's in your face and you just jump and throw it 20 yards on a corner route. Like, I'll just pop it over the top here. It's like the off the balance in traditional ways that you're able to get the football out in different ways. I love that so much, man. It's such a great way to play the game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Hey, after this season with the behind the R thing, once season's done, you'll have your own Netflix documentary, and you'll be one of those type of stars as you see with all the other.
You see that, man? We need a CFL Hard Knocks, man, on Netflix or something, man. That would be awesome.
That's what it is, and that's why I'm excited.
Oh, it is for sure. Our guys doing that. It'd be great to just have everybody, man. I know the fans would eat it up for sure.
That's right. We'll see you with your own Netflix series soon, but that's for another time. That's for later.
For a reality TV star, man.
Yeah, man. Anyway, I do appreciate it, man. I know you got to get back to daddy duty, so appreciate you coming on, man. And honestly, I can't wait. I told you this when I sent you that text. I can't wait to see you throw for 1 million yards and make $1 million every single year, and that's what I'm rooting for, man. I can't wait.
Appreciate it, Mike. Thank you, man. You're a good dude, bro. Appreciate it.